Hello, Doctors Jones, Snell, members of this committee, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak. Since I have not testified here before, my story before you may not be familiar, so let me sum it up for you briefly. For 17 years, I happily worked in a major California hospital from which I had thought I would retire. I was a Code Blue recorder on the Health and Safety Committee, and I had to attend all of the HIV/AIDS conferences at UCSF, and I had to quit my job because of this illness back in 1985. And now, after 25 years of MECFS, even though I have my Social Security quarters in, I am not even able to get disability because it took so long to get a diagnosis. I would like you to discuss this sometime later today. I live alone and am 99% bedridden now because of this OI pods and get no in-home help for anything. Once every 3 to 4 months, a friend buys me groceries. How disabled is that? Dr. Coffin has proposed that XMRV is simply a contaminant from 1992. How does that explain the epidemics in both Nevada and Lyndonville 8 years earlier in 1984? I have tested seropositive for XMRV antibodies. I have not received a vaccine since the 1970s, so was not infected with any contaminant after 1992. So Dr. Coffin's theory is a moot point in my case. Honest scientists cannot refute the data. 7 cohorts in 7 countries tested by different labs have also tested positive. This is not a contaminant. It's the 3rd human retrovirus. Those who called CFS AIDS light back in the 1980s were more accurate than they ever knew. For those that refuse to name us, we will now name ourselves XMRV/AIDS 2.0, next generation, especially now that we have 3 generations, sometimes 5 in one family. Have you seen the XMRV family tree? The children of XMRV parents that get either autism, FM, MECFS, ASD, atypical MS, chronic Lyme, and lymphoma, from which my mother died from. This waddles, quacks, and poops like a retrovirus. We get used to it. We have it, and we do have it. What are you going to treat us with? How many years do we have to have a retrovirus antibodies and multiple co-infections before you will treat us? Shame on you, literally. Get real, and get real right now, please. The CDC shot down Elaine Dufresne in 1990 when another retrovirus was in the early stages of being linked with MECFS. And yes, meanwhile, the band plays on. Dr. Mikovits was also the systems biology approach, and she worked with others about specific biomarkers already. She's been doing this for years. Last month, the patient's wife asked President Obama about CFS, and his response was that he was going to ask the NIH to explain to him what it was when he got back. So what does the NIH and CFS SAC plan to explain to him? We would like to know that only $3.64 per patient this disease only gets less than 1% of what is spent on cancer research, that conditions with far less consequences get far more research money, that there are 17 million patients around the world who are waiting to hear the answer of your president's request for information for just this one co-infection? Will you have the cojones and ovaries to tell him about all of the XMRV people that are positive by antibodies in families infected? Dr. Leonard Jason has estimated that this disease costs the U.S. economy $26 billion every single year.
Angel, you have about a minute.
Will help save us, this country's economy, by once again getting us well on meds like Magic Johnson so we can have our meds, get jobs back, and be happy to pay taxes. We call on you, please, do create an NIH separate SEP, XMRV, and for all of its co-infections. We demand $250 million, a minuscule amount compared to $26 billion this illness costs our economy every year, and $50 million of it going immediately to those that have already waited 25 years and are XMRV antibody positive, and give them immediate medical care and treatment for this retrovirus and their co-infections. Stop this pandemic now. Stop this 3rd-generation retrovirus in its tracks. Have you not seen the children here today and acknowledged that we are in the 3rd generation of this thing? How dare Dr. Coffin suggest that all XMRV research stop? That's like not looking for bin Laden after 9/11. Give me a break, please. To close, I would like to remind you of two things I've heard before. It's the economy, stupid, and it's the retrovirus. Help them both. It can't be done by talking or acting sheepishly. It can only be cured by properly directed research and antiviral treatment. Millions of patients and their families are depending on waiting on you to do the right thing. The obstacle is not ignorance, but the illusion of knowledge. A quote by Daniel J.
Please
Bourne.
wrap up, Angel.
Thank you again for your time.
Thank you.
And thank you for submitting your commentary, your testimony in writing. So we'll have the full version will be posted. Thank you.